Hello, good morning and welcome to Sports Central. My name is Vladimir Kevin. Sports Central this morning. Some of the key talking points center around the World Cup reviews that are coming out. The list, especially the list that caused traction, has been the Three Lions list, that of England. Most often than not, from an English point of view, there's always an English coach handling their affairs and regular name being featured in the list. But this time, Thomas Tuchel, a German international, brought total chaos to it. Some key players being dropped. We'll talk about details of it in the course of a show. We'll also look at some key talking points around the world of tennis and similarly basketball. The Eastern Conference taking center stage. A drama continues even further. 2-0 is the number. We'll give you details of it in the cost of it. But first, I will give you exciting stories and a news update in the world of sports, and that will be Sports Wrap Up next. And now to the top stories in the world of sports. And first, I will start from the very fact that Northern Lions sealed Nigeria's Super League playoff spots. Northern Lions became the first team to secure a place in the playoffs of Nigeria's Super League after defeating Western Dolphins by 5 wickets in the world of cricket on Thursday at the TBS Cricket Oval in Lagos. The victory was Northern Lions' third consecutive win of the tournament, taking them to 6 points with 2 group stage matches still left to be played. The unbeaten run has firmly established them as early title contenders in the inaugural edition of the competition. Having already recorded victories over Southern Sharks and Central Eagles earlier in the tournament, the Lions continue their impressive form with another composed display against the Dolphins, with 2 games still to come against Eastern Elephants and Middlebelt Tigers. Northern Lions now have the opportunity to finish the group stage strongly and potentially secure top seeding heading into the knockout phase. For Western Dolphins, attention will now shift to the remaining fixtures as they seek to revive their playoff hopes. The playoff hopes in a tournament that has already produced several closely contested encounters at the TBS Cricket Oval. Multiplicity of conversation indicates in the world of tennis. Alex de Minaur continued his spectacular return to form on Thursday at the Bitpanda Hamburg Open, where the third-seeded Australian dropped just 3 games in the quarterfinal round of Luciano Dadere. The number 9 player in the PIF ATP ranking, de Minaur entered Hamburg on a 3-match losing streak, but he danced past world number 16, Dadere 6-3, 6-love, to book his semi-final spots on debut at the clay court event in northern Germany. The Australian, who at one point led 6-love, 5-1, before Dadere threatened a late comeback, saved 11 of 12 points he faced in the last 8 clash. Alex de Minaur is the first Australian to reach the Hamburg semi-final since former world number 1 Leighton Hewitt in 2007. The 27-year-old has risen 2 spots to number 7 in the PIF ATP Live ranking as a result of his quarterfinal triumph. And now to Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton says he has no thought about stopping racing in Formula 1 and insists he will be here for quite some time. Hamilton's difficult first season for Ferrari in 2025 raised questions about his future in Formula 1 and whether he could leave the sport at the end of the season. But Hamilton confirmed for the first time that he was still contracted to Ferrari for next season. Hamilton has already hinted last year that he was contracted to Ferrari for 2027, saying he did not need to enter negotiations over his future in 2026. But this is the first time he has explicitly said that he has a contract with Ferrari until the end of next season. His comments about the length of time he sees himself in Formula 1 would keep him into the sports until past his 45th birthday. Drivers rarely stay racing in Formula 1 for that long, although Hamilton's longtime rival Fernando Alonso turns 45 in June. The Spaniard's contract with Aston Martin expired at the end of this season and is currently weighing up whether to sign a new one. And now to the world of basketball, the NBA in particular. The New York Knicks scored 18 unanswered points on the way to a 109-93 win against the Cleveland Cavaliers as they took a 2-0 lead in their best-of-7 Eastern Conference final. The score was tied at 53-53 when the Knicks are pulled away at the Madison Square Garden home to take a 71-53 lead on the way to a 9th straight victory. And Josh Hart scored 26 points, including 5 three-pointers for the home side as he racked up a career high, the tally for a playoff game. While teammate Jalen Brunson added 19 points and 14 assists. The Knicks, who last reached the NBA final match in 1999 and have not been champions since 1973, also had Michael Bridges scoring 19 points and Karl Anthony Towns 18. Donovan Mitchell scored 26 points for the Cavaliers, and James Harden contributed 18 for the visiting side, who went 2-0 down to the Detroit Pistons in the last round before emerging 4-3 series winners. Game 3 and 4 will take place in Cleveland on Saturday and Monday. And now to the world of football. Cristiano Ronaldo wins first Saudi league title as El Nassr a clinched league. Cristiano scored twice as his El Nassr team beat Denmark 4-1 on Thursday to earn the Portugal star his first Saudi Pro League title since moving to the league in January 2023. It's the club's 11th league title, but first since Ronaldo joined, as El Nassr finished 2 points ahead of rivals Al Hilal to clinch the crown on the last match day of the season. Having missed a chance to wrap up the domestic championship last week following a stoppage time blunder from Brazil keeper Bento, which resulted in a 1-1 draw with Al Hilal, El Nassr then slipped to a shock home defeat to Gamba Osaka in the AFC Champions League 2 final last weekend. Georgia's side, although eventually got the job done against strugglers Denmark at the King Assault University Stadium, with former Liverpool winger Sadio Mane, who also scored, and former Atletico Madrid and Chelsea forward Joao Felix are playing alongside Ronaldo on Thursday. Mane opened scoring for El Nassr late in the first half, and Kingsley Coman scored just after the break before Ronaldo added his 2 goals to seal the title, his 27 and 28 league goals of the season. Ronaldo has already scored over 100 goals for the club in his 3 seasons in Saudi Arabia, having joined the SPL after his second stint at Manchester United. Visibly emotional, the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner was taken off to a standing ovation with 3 minutes remaining. Ronaldo has now won domestic league titles in Portugal, England, Spain, Italy and Saudi Arabia, and will compete with Portugal at the 2026 World Cup, his 6th appearance in the soccer world's biggest tournament. Well, it's a story that comes with sports wrap-up and indices of the news that's making rounds in the world of sport. Interestingly, for the big man Cristiano Ronaldo, making it count after how many seasons? About 3 to 4 seasons in the Saudi League. But we wrap the first phase of the show where we give you the news, and afterwards the guys join the conversation to give perspective to the integrity of the analysis that takes place in the world of sports. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. The analysis would be up next. talking points around the world of sports that we talked about during sports wrap-up, and definitely would be the Cristiano Ronaldo winning a league title in the Saudi League. After 3 years contending for it, at some point, he would become a laughing stock in the Saudi League, getting to finals of competition and not being able to win it. But the legendary striker has finally knelt it in the Saudi League after they got a victory, a 4-1 victory over Denmark, a weak side in the Saudi League, and winning the title ahead of Al Hilal, who finished second. Is going to be part of the conversation today. A world of tennis are taking center stage. We'll look at Hamburg, we'll look at Geneva, and what's really happening there in the world of basketball, definitely. The Eastern Conference final getting further interesting in the playoffs of NBA, and the top sides are logging it hard. We'll talk about the details that comes with it. And finally, one key talking point, this one I love it a lot, would be the English squad. Thomas Tuchel making the most of this opportunity as the manager. Is it all about system, or just a player that fits the national team? It will be a conversation with the guys this morning. I'm not alone. Until David joins the conversation, just like funny today. Good morning. Welcome back. Just a quick apologies regarding that break in transition and transmission. Not so good, but it had to be. Sometimes we do this to get to give you the best that we have to. Still talking about the introductions, David being part of the mix, and Fontina and definitely being part of the mix. Sadly, we have to cut you short while you were giving your introductory speech, but somehow we're back at you. Well, good morning.
Happy times to be back this morning. Just like Ahmed mentioned, Cristiano Ronaldo dominating the social media space, winning the Saudi Pro League for the first time since he made that move to Al Hilal. Quite, of course, a rewarding time for him. He's Saudi Arabia's poster boy, particularly in that league, so it wouldn't make sense if he stayed all through all these years and not winning. So finally getting a hands on the title, good one for him.
We talk about a brand of the Saudi League, definitely has to be Cristiano Ronaldo, especially. And when you see the likes of Ivan Toney being called to the national team of England, it puts more identity on the Saudi League that a top goal scorer in the Saudi League features for the Three Lions. Well, Faditina, good morning, good to see you.
Thank you to be back.
For now, being the man of limited speech, especially at the introductory part of it, then afterwards, he comes blazing. And let's start a conversation from a world of cricket as Northern Lions Seal Nigeria Super League playoff sport. Fun, I'll start with you. When you talk about the Northern Lions side and the world of cricket, we've been clamoring for club sides to come up and game times to come up and league to take place. And the cricket side has shown class and dominance. And one side to talk about would be Northern Lions. They get the better of that openings in this one and sealing the Super League playoffs.
I think it's good for the Nigerian cricket system. We're having a league format now. It's something to look forward to. So when we start having competition for the Yellow Greens, we have where to go look out for talent. You don't have to, start scouting for, cricketers in Nigeria. So quite excited to see for the Northern Lions defeated lots of people, Southern Dolphins and all that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
quite excited to
some
see
of the big names you could think of that defeated them. The likes of, you've mentioned the Southern Sharks and Central Eagles earlier in that direction, and the Dolphins also are being part of the mix. Eastern Elephants and Middle Belt Tigers. I'm just wondering why animal names are well represented in this one. You're talking about the Dolphins, the Tigers, the Sharks, all of them in this one. But it's basically what sports come with. Well, let's look at some perspective in this one. Is it something we talk about as a cue for other sports in Nigeria?
Well, I think, of course, it is certainly something other sports in Nigeria should copy. Over time, we've actually talked about the very fact that, cricket is fast developing right here in the shores of the country. But in all of that, we basically looked at the grassroots and then we look at the national team. But then at the time, about a few years ago, there were no, of course, active league that could also regulate these players and ensure that even when they are out of the international continental competition window, they still have something to engage in. and that's why, of course, the usefulness of club action also returns. And I think it's quite good that the federation are looking towards this end and trying to ensure that players who are actually going to be quite established at the international scene and even on the continent are playing leagues as well. And it's quite good at the moment, because from here, just like one of men mentioned, we could actually scout players for the national team. Really good. I think away from this, my only, of course, advice would be try to see this league regularly. It is one thing to start, and of course, it's another thing to be quite consistent. So if we see it every single year, then it will also make a whole lot of sense. Every single year, we may just actually see, players being picked at the grassroots level, maybe at the local level, added to their own, of course, club side to be quite competitive. And with all of these, we'll see more numbers in the world of cricket.
Well, it brings back a conversation we had yesterday about table tennis, and we're saying we ought to have club leagues in table tennis in Nigeria, and on and not just single tournament that takes place as a window of the year where some superstars come to participate, but club leagues, and it cuts across different geopolitical zones. It could really help. I don't know which other sports might really need this the most. We've seen a few pockets of a league format from basketball, and now cricket, maybe rugby also gets to do it.
Absolutely.
Rugby has not potentially given enough the way it ought to, despite being around for a while, but it's an unfolding conversation we'll get to talk about and see what happens even before that. And now quickly to the world of tennis. The excitement taking place in the world of tennis would be the fact that Kasparov matches Wilander with imposing Geneva quarterfinal win over Popperin. Similarly, the likes of Bublik set Tien clash by beating Rin Danesh, and Lena Tien reaching first clear semi-final by beating Michelson in this one. Well, funny Tina, let's start with this one. When we talk about the likes of Lena Tien getting to the first semi-final, clear semi-final, beating Michelson, simply good for the lot.
Definitely, it is a 250 tour level competition, so not really that huge. I'm still wondering why some superstars would choose to compete in this one instead of the 500 tour level competition in Hamburg. But still, we have people have different preferences. So for Leonard Chen, quite good for him trying to get up the rankings. We're talking about the Roland Garros just coming up quite soon. So I feel it looks like we might not see some of these superstars competing in a few of these tournaments that are happening right now. At the Roland Garros, because we're already having the draws, already seeing superstars already in different halves of it. So for Leonard Chen, quite good for him, and let's see how he can move forward, because it's not just about winning at this stage. He's reached his very first semi-final. How about reaching his first final, and maybe lifting the first trophy for him on the clear court?
Talking about the possibility of getting a first trophy for him, moving even further. The games that are taking place today at the Geneva Open will be Kasparov against Novin and Nevin, and we're talking about Lena Tien also facing Alexander Bublik. We're going to see what happens even further in that direction. Quickly, let's move to Germany and talk about the event unfolding in Germany at the Hamburg Open. Alex Dimino said Tom Paul semi-final showdown in Hamburg, just like Kovacevic wins Triller against Camilo Ugo Carabelli. Mboko, definitely. We'll talk about Mboko after at the Strasbourg Open. Well, together we've seen some big names now. Alex Dimino for me. It seems like the biggest name at this Hamburg Open in Germany. Ready for it, going even further. And now, a big clash against Paul in the semi-final.
Quite good. Of course, this would be arguably one of the biggest games in Hamburg, because you look at both players are actually renowned names, especially in the ATP scene, participating in top competition. So it would be quite a fixture to look forward to. Alex Dimino has done really well since last year up until now. Though one would actually argue how many titles has he actually won, but then I think he's always been on the cards of making it to quarterfinals of different tour level competitions, and I think it's quite good for his confidence against Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul, of course, also a big name. But I think Alex Dimino, if you look at the recent, form between both sides, Alex Dimino's got, an upper hand in here. But it would actually be quite a showdown to look forward to in Hamburg. And I'm quite delighted to see how it actually pans out. I would have actually loved this fixture to be a final, because I look at the players that are participating in Hamburg, I do not really see top names right there, except this few. But it is what it is at the moment. One has to go for the other to see.
Well, the talking point about players featuring at the finals, we're talking about Alex Dimino, Tommy Paul, who gets the victory, goes to the final in this one. The other semi-final clash would be about Kovacevic taking on Buse. We'll get to see what happens moving forward, but it seems stacked favoring the likes of Alex Dimino. Still in the world of tennis, one last talking point, move to France. It has to be a Strasbourg Open as Mboko wins all Canadian quarterfinal as Navarro scores come back. Well, I won't dwell on it except Fontaine really wants to pinch on this one, but Mboko definitely. We've seen the rise of Mboko at Strasbourg, not the biggest of competition, but showing class and dominance. Quickly, to the world of Formula One then. Let's talk Formula One and basketball before we draw the first, according to the first phase of it, where we get to talk about football stories around the world. Fontaine. Lewis Hamilton has come out to say he plans not to retire. He still wants to be a part of that Ferrari team and goes even further to the next season. He's really spoken about a contract spanning till 2027. And what the complaint many people want him to retire, especially after looking at the 2025 season with the Ferrari not being so well. But at this season, at least, he's made it to the podium. We're talking about the big superstar. Finished third once. I think it was in the Japanese Grand Prix. It was for me. Well, basically what it is. Tell me about this man now. Should continue to be part of the system anyway.
Well, I think Lewis Hamilton does not subscribe to that particular saying that you leave when the ovation is loudest, because I feel he should just call it a day. Just retire and just let other people do it, because right now he's beginning to look like a shadow of himself. I think he's
at the age of 41.
Exactly.
Not necessarily a shadow, but he's made the podium, so not a shadow of himself.
Lewis Hamilton is no longer talked about. When you want to talk about favorite for competition, you don't even categorize him on any of those, because you don't expect him to do nothing.
Maybe it's no more the favorite, but he can still compete.
Now he wants to just compete. We knew Lewis Hamilton to be the best ever Formula One racer. When you look at that now, beating the likes of Sebastian Alonso and all of those who were before him, but now he's beginning to look like a shadow of himself. It's quite obvious. You want to talk about competitors now. You look at Kimi Antonelli, you look at Lando Norris, you look at Oscar Piastri, you look at Max Verstappen. You cannot even talk about Lewis Hamilton. So that's why there's been calls for him to retire. Maybe take another role in Formula One. I'm sure if Lewis Hamilton calls it a day in his career right now, there's always a place for him in administration. So not just about the money. He should just say, I'm not racing anymore, because I think it's not exciting for his fans anymore.
Well, not exciting for the fans. Fontaine is talking about it, but the man Lewis Hamilton might not care so much about the excitement that the fans get. He's earning money out of it. Let's see relevance within the context of the sport. Let's talk about another man that was planning to retire, but now he's changing his mind. It has to be Max Verstappen. And when you talk about big superstar, and that's one Max Verstappen, he said the plan changes in Formula One engine rules for next year and would return racing almost back to normal. Well, to every now and then we see the changes that's taking place in Formula One, and sometimes it gets to favor some teams. I remember 2 years ago when it was favoring Max Verstappen and the Red Bull side, after it wasn't in favor of the likes of Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton at the time, because it began to the structure now favor the higher rate cars instead of the lower rate cars like Mercedes were. But now, and there are speculation, we've seen them struggle last year and this year a bit, but there are speculation now. Formula One is planning changes to Formula One's engine, changes to move away from the nominal 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power to reduce the need for energy management, which has dominated racing this year. So this year it's all about how you manage the energy, the speed and the rest of it. Technically, while we know the Red Bulls, the high rate cars, is always about boom.
Well, I think basically it's about, of course, the very fact that when rules are not favoring you, you come out to complain. Max Verstappen of last year, when he was dominating, never complained, never said anything. This year, that started already with Team Mercedes. The young Antonelli, of course, doing the magic, and that's why, basically, for me, I feel that's why he's also coming out to complain. Whenever it favors you, we never hear them complain.
Well, we see it time and time again in Formula One.
Yeah.
It seems like they feel the changes makes it exciting. New champions coming.
Yeah,
new franchise gets to win.
It favors other franchises.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
fairness for everybody.
Absolutely.
So you go successful 2 years. The next 2 years they change the rules and it favors another team.
For me, I think there's absolutely no reason why we should be talking about Max Verstappen, considering retiring just because the rules doesn't favor your franchise.
Now he says he's not retiring.
Because there are potentials that the rules will change ahead of next year. But I think it's quite good, making it quite competitive. Now we're actually looking at about 3 franchises who could actually rival the likes of Max Verstappen and his team for the title at the end of it. Already we're talking about Team Mercedes as well, and I think it's quite good. Going forward, maybe by next year, when the rules are being changed in favor of Max Verstappen and doesn't favor another franchise, you definitely hear complaints as well.
Well, just to add to that, I think it's going to be unfair to say Verstappen is just quitting because it's not favouring him. We've had lots of people. Verstappen is just the biggest name. That's why he headlined behind all of these, particular topics, because we look at the other time we had the man who is Fernando Alonso, who is still racing. He came out to say that the cars have it affects the health of the drivers because the vibration that comes with the car and with the new rules, it's not really good for them. Last race, Verstappen was leading, but he could not finish the race. He was leading towards that would have been his first, win of the season, but he could not finish the race because of the vibration of the car. If you stay in the car for longer than usual, you are at risk of a health problem.
It's not affecting him alone.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the
Ferraris are affecting. The rest of them are affected.
We're saying.
Everyone
it is not favoring Max Verstappen.
Here's the point. Here's the point. Yeah, we agree to that, but here's the point we're making. Before it was Mercedes, the rules favored the low-rate cars.
Absolutely.
Mercedes were dominating.
It was not health. There were no health implications behind it.
I still do not see the health implications.
But the vibration of the car causes some certain health problems.
But we know that car always vibrates.
Absolutely.
No, it's different now. Everyone has talked about it. Every racer this season has talked about it.
But no one has said I want to retire.
Well, Verstappen is against it. You have to sacrifice yourself for the rest.
Question was
just like in tennis now, we had Arina Zabalenka coming out to say she's going to boycott competitions. If Emma Raducanu comes out and say that, no one's going to care. So that's why Verstappen
here's the point. We understand what you're saying, but here's the point. If he were winning, would he come out and say he's going to retire?
If he did
whether the car vibrates or not.
That's the same thing we're saying. If he started winning at the start of the season, we won't hear these complaints.
Absolutely.
Not just favoring.
Last time I had the same thing. Look, the question is, others that are winning don't want to resign. They're not talking about the health situation.
Yes, because he's not been winning.
Come on. But the good thing about Formula One is there are changes that comes with it at the end of it. We're almost out of time for the first phase of the show, but let's see if we can do the magic. Regarding basketballers, the New York Knicks have produced 18-point surge to win over Cavaliers. Well, so David, I'll start with you in this one. 2-0 lead for the Knicks in this one over Cavaliers at the Eastern Conference Final. Getting forward a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, Eastern Finals,
next all the defense, not 1-1. We're talking on Funny Seal in the Western Conference. Western Conference is 1-1. The Eastern Conference is 2-1. So we talk about some of the biggest superstars, but surprising it's panning this way.
Well, I think it's not surprising for me because the Cavs hasn't really been impressive this season. Let's be frank with ourselves. They were still living in the past. That was last season where they were also arguably one of the best sides during the regular season. If you look at the numbers of the Cavs this season, during the regular season, not impressive enough. Before the start of these particular playoffs, I've actually seen a few new names right there, trying to help the Cleveland Cavaliers to do better, but it's still same old story for them. And if you have a certain Knicks lead you by 2, wins to nothing, it certainly, of course, is a pointer to the fact that you are not really that good and you should be better. I expected, of course, the Cavs to, respond in this second game. Unfortunately, it didn't just happen. And if it goes this way to game 3, then it's a pointer to the very fact that it won't get to game 7 with the Cavs, getting this particular win at the end. It's quite sad for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were on a very high, of course, tempo momentum last season. But this season, quite a different case. It could happen to any franchise, and the Cavs are just, of course, at the moment, one of the casualties.
Well, especially when they play the first leg away from home. Now it goes to Cleveland side. We'll see what happens, how the Cavaliers respond to this one. The Knicks has reached the finals match last in 1999 and have not been champions since 1973. Also, had Michael Bridges scoring 19 points and Karl Anthony Towns 18 points. We're going to see what happens. Could this be the season for the New York Knicks? Only time will tell. And now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back with football stories all around the world. One big traction. And what be the 3 lines list for the World Cup? We'll talk about it. The players that are missing. Why? Is Thomas Tuchel thinking right in this one? Is he prioritizing system, football, than the quality of players? We'll talk about it when we're back from the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back here at Sports Central. And my name is Blyden Kumutwe. Devin Fontaine has still me for company. I'm going nowhere and ready for the talking point of the world of football. Football, here we go as usual. And part of football stories will have to do with some details that we have to look forward to and think about. And we'll begin from a Nigeria's point of view and give account of what needs to be done. First, we start from the Flamingos as the first, as likely first South Korea Republic, rather Korea Republic, Puerto Rico, and Poland. If they qualify, the Flamingos have a qualifiers next from an African point of view to qualify, and it would be that conversation as FIFA conducted the draw. So after the qualifiers, they're most likely going to face these people because African qualification sports is yet to be fully decided within the draws. Meanwhile, from a Nigeria's point of view still, Eric Chell has added 2 players to the Super Eagles squad ahead of Unity Cup. We're talking about Karausi Geng winger Collins Yiraso and Shooting Stars defender Tijani Almin. The newest addition to Eric Chell's squad, as Eric Chell, the Super Eagles gaffer, has named 27 players for the invitational tournament on Wednesday. It's that conversation. Assault was part of the Super Eagles squad for the friendlies against Iran and Jordan in March, while Almin has been called up for the first time. We're talking about AIK winger Zadok Johanna, who won't be part of the squad after the Swedish club opted not to release him for the competition. The Super Eagles contingent will depart for London today. One key young superstar is the AIK winger Zadok Johanna, who wasn't he was invited to be part of it, but the young lad had already spoken about it, that if the Swedish club allows him to come, he would participate. Big opportunity to show what you can do from a Nigeria's point of view, and sadly, the Swedish club didn't give him the go-ahead.
Very sad. I think there will be more opportunities for him. He's still relatively very young, and I would say now an opportunity for another person. We've already seen so, during the Iran friendlies and all of that, but now another opportunity for him to show what he's got. And let's see what happens at the end of the Unity Cup. Is not so huge a tournament, so I'm not expecting quite a lot from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. People are talking about getting ready for the World Cup, but we're talking about the Unity Cup. Definitely, maybe.
Unless you're a friendly after that.
Doesn't matter. Other nations are very excited about the World Cup.
You have to live with it. You're not in the World Cup.
We're getting call-ups for Unity Cup.
But it's a good friendly. After they play a friendly against Poland and Portugal, at least the Unity Cup is to find young superstars in front of it. Don't be a sore loser and not going to the World Cup. You can't do anything about it. It's basically what it is. I was wondering anyway. Quickly, let's go to the Nigeria Premier Football League with Twitter. Rivers United will be hosting Katsina United match day 38 in Port Harcourt, and we hear the governor of the side, Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara, despite not being able to get the ticket for the APC gubernatorial elections, but interestingly, the governor has set the game free for the fans, free transport, free everything. In fact, you might even have free food, everything. It just wants the side to win the title, Rivers United. A last game in that regard, quite interesting, a last match of the season.
I think it's quite good for the motivation of the players to at least win the game, the last game of the season. And also hope that results for Rangers International go south for them to be able to be crowned champions of the NPFL. I hear bosses would be, of course, placed in strategic locations for River State, and Rivers United lovers to be part of that game. Really good. I do not know what to expect at the moment, but I think if Rivers United win, and then they just go result go in Rangers International favor. If Rangers win as well, Rangers will be crowned champions of the NPFL. So it's either ways. The last game usually on suspend. We also hear that 2 trophies have been made for the last match day. One will be in River State, while the other would be in the center in Lagos, where Ikorodu City will play against Rangers due to logistical issues. So whoever wins the NPFL, the NPFL will be crowned.
Nigeria can't afford to be flying the trophy.
That's what
it can be interesting. The trophy is flying to.
That's the way we saw it with Manchester United and Man City some seasons back, when one trophy was being flown.
So I can imagine the flying to and fro. The score here favors this team and the flying towards there.
Absolutely.
And you hear the score on the other side,
and
most likely you'll go back. Injury time to equalize. Well, a good wisdom from NFF and NPFL are keeping 2 trophies in case anything happens. Whoever wins it, you don't have to and be flying to and fro to get a trophy. So, well, quickly let's talk about a Nigerian footballer in this one. Quite interesting. Rafael Yenekas wins the Belgian League title second season winning it for him. He's been there about 4 seasons. The last time Rafael Onyeka won the Belgium League with Club Brugge was 2023-2024 season. Last season he couldn't win it, but finally he's won it again. Something interesting, big congratulations to him. And similarly, we talk about Cristiano Ronaldo winning first Saudi title as El Nassr clinched a league title. A massive for the big superstar. Before we tell just half a bite on this one before we talk about the case in England. Cristiano Ronaldo winning the first title. How many? After 3 years at the club.
Oh, definitely. I think it's exciting for Ronaldo. He's gone through a lot of, I think just like Arsenal, the Arsenal situation, he's been mocked. He's been called names, you know, that he ran to the Saudi League so he could get to, you know, start part and win a lot of trophies, but he's not won any. You know, I think the only one he won was the Arab Cup, which is not really, you know, a FIFA licensed trophy. So finally, he's got his hand on a, you know, a proper trophy. Congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo. He had a lot of help.
Arabian people wouldn't like it when you say it's not a FIFA license.
No, it's not FIFA license. It's documented. It's not FIFA license. So this is his first proper trophy at Al Nassr, and he had a lot of help, just like I said. João Felix, I think he's been the best player of the season, but I know it's going to go to Cristiano Ronaldo at the end of it. But João Felix has been a very, very integral part of that Al Nassr side winning. He's got he's got the most goal and assist in the league, you know, when you combine it together. So it's
Sadio Mane also scored.
Yeah, Sadio Mane as well.
13 goals for him so far. Makes sense. Anyway.
Exactly. They got Kingsley Coman. So we look at 4 attackers in that team. It's very exciting. Cristiano Ronaldo could not do it alone. He needed a lot of help to do it.
Well, everyone needs a lot of help to do it. You can't do it alone, despite being the figure. But one thing we know, he's done it alone in terms of being the figure of the Saudi League. That's why all his players are running to the Saudi League. Without Cristiano Ronaldo,
the most watched match in the history of the Saudi League.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with the legend himself being part of it. Congratulations, El Nassr, and not just El Nassr. Congratulations, Cristiano Ronaldo. Quickly, let's move to England then and talk about one talking point. Everyone's excited about Cristiano Ronaldo. It would be England. I don't know what the feeling is in London, Manchester, and the rest of the cities. Well, the interesting thing is that the coach of a side, he dropped a bombshell yesterday. Everyone talked about it. The likes of Cole Palmer are missing out of the list to the World Cup. Thomas Tuchel made it happen. Harry Maguire missing out. Ivan Toney being in the squad. Who else missing out? Foden missing out.
My question is, why are things always getting leaked in England? Club side, we have you know, squad lists being leaked before it's officially released. Same thing now with the English national team. They
have the biggest media anyway. But let's talk about this league. I don't know what you make of it, but quite interestingly, Ivan Toney, he scored lots of goals, 44 goals in the league. Talking about Saudi League. And now finding the balance. Is it a case of a foreign manager? Let's get to see the list of players invited for the English national team. A quick response to this one. What do you make of the big superstars missing in action? Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Harry Maguire out.
Well, I think I do not have problems with Foden and Cole Palmer missing out. Both players have actually had
Trent Arnold out.
Yeah, both players have actually had below par performance. My problem in that list is the rationale behind choosing to leave out Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest's arguably best player of the season, and you're leaving him out for whatever reason I do not understand. Trent Alexander-Arnold as well should actually be in that list, because when I look at Jet Spence, what has he actually done with Tottenham Hotspur? Maybe the likes of Tino Livramento for Newcastle has been a regular. That's all I checked it. But Trent for me should actually be in that list. I could understand.
A coach that doesn't care about the title. He cares about who plays the game for him.
I do not. I just feel he works for him, because when you look at the quality of Trent Alexander and whatever he brings to the national team is really, really integral. I could understand he had some injury worries sometime this season, but a trend that comes off the bench could actually give you a major threat going even forward as a fullback. Another concern. Well, because due to the fact that he's been injured some part of this particular season, so one could actually argue he's not at his best at the moment. My other concern would be the back line. I've seen John Stones in that list. Put John Stones and Harry Maguire side by side. Who's been the better player this season? Definitely Harry.
John Stones barely played this season.
Yes, he's barely played this season. So why include him in the list? So at the other end, I actually feel this for tactical reasons. At one end, when I look at the quality of players he's also invited, I also feel maybe the man is also being biased, because I do not see whatever tactical reason why he should pick a player that has barely played this season ahead of the other one who's been a regular.
Here's the bias. Funny thing, we're out of time, but a quick response from you because I need to hear it. The bias is, many are saying he favors his system of play and not just a player. So when he looks at a player, does this player fit into the system? We know the typical Thomas Tuchel system: the pass the ball, try to get in between and square in front, and then you bury it. Looking at a system football ahead of some of these players, which one are you disappointed in?
I'm disappointed with the whole team. Yes, it's not officially out.
It's out. The English national
it's
team.
Out.
Yeah, it's out.
Before I came on the show, it was not out because I was checking it out. I've not seen the official, goalkeepers, midfielders, and things.
So
like
he's taking James Trafford of CT.
We'll check that later. Yeah. But for me, I think the man Thomas Tuchel has never been a manager who I always talk about without bias. He's always very, very biased about his selections, even when he was at Chelsea. That's why after the Champions League, couldn't really get a lot of success with them. We've seen him at Borussia Dortmund.
He won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Yes, he won the Champions League. Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League with Chelsea.
You guys say it's not been successful.
Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League with Chelsea. What's he done since then? That's his only major trophy.
It's not easy.
Those are Paris Saint-Germain. What happened?
You make it sound like it's easy to win the Champions League.
I'm just telling you that Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League as well. And under the same circumstances, he didn't start the competition, came in the quarterfinal stage of it. Someone already did the job for him. I can tell you for a fact that if Thomas Tuchel started that Champions League campaign with Chelsea, probably wouldn't have won it.
Well, you don't have the facts about that. It's not happening.
Let's see what happens at the World Cup.
He's won it, especially when Chelsea were looking terrible under Frank Lampard.
I'm not doubting Thomas Tuchel's ability, but this will backfire if England national team do not go find this World Cup. Certainly, because some players he's actually not called to this national team. Players who could add more at that national team.
Livramento has not played since last year. He's been injured. And he's a youngster, 21 years of age. Where's the experience? If you say, okay, he's good, where's the experience?
All right. The guys are disappointed with Thomas Tuchel. One thing is you cannot take the credit away from Thomas Tuchel, especially winning the Champions League and being a top manager, no matter how I want to talk about it. And that's why England had to go for him. And that's why having a topsy-turvy season at Bayern Munich. Well, we set to bounds. Bernardo Silva has decided to leave Manchester City 2 years ago, and many have spoken about his interest to join Real Madrid. The man on now, 40, at the age now, recalled for German to be first-choice keeper, causing a little rift among the goalkeepers. Well, Marcus Rashford back to stay at Barcelona by Frankie Young. Marcus Rashford also met the list, at least that should make Florentino happy. And Rogers named Europa League a player of the season. They have to balance. While Roger is the Europa League player of the season, these guys are the players of the season right here. To David Florentino, thank you for always making it happen for me. Thank you for being part of the show. Well, if you wonder who the best player MVP is, it's definitely you watching at home. Because of you, we do the show. Thank you, and bye-bye.